Um, Thank you, Loreto, for helping with my project. Could you say a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a lawyer. I am the first vice president of the Chilean Space Association. I've been working in aviation for a lot of years. And from that perspective of the private law and aviation law, I start to study space law. Yeah, and I think 6 years ago I met the space community here in Chile because I was part of a program to review the space politics in Chile. After that, we realized that we have to organize all the people around this activity, and taking in consideration that Chile doesn't have a space agency, we figure out that we need to do something to work in that issue before the authorities and to convince them of the importance of the space activity and the importance to have the adequate institution, yeah, and a space agency to face this new era, this new century, yeah, full of space activity. And well, we in 2018 we reactivate an old organization of the Chilean Space Association, and well, we have been now receiving a lot of new people and contributions, and we are growing up very fast. So we are pretty very satisfied and happy with the reception of the people, the interest of the universities to be part of this project, and the authority, because Chile have a new science ministry, and they are working in the issue of the space activity, and they are basically working with us and with a couple of other stakeholders, and basically we are influencing a lot of the new in the draft for the new space institution. So we are very happy that we are contributing in some way in the development of this activity here in Latin America.
What do you see as being like the ultimate goal with the Chilean Space Association? I mean, and with the activities that Chile has in space, would you want them to have astronauts and potentially facilities in space that they would operate, or is it something different than that?
Well, we think, we are convinced that we have to be very realistic in our goals. Yeah, first of all, we need to have an institution, to have an official representative of this topic, yeah, on behalf of the country. But we know that from Latin America, we have very limited resources, but we have some assets as well to contribute worldwide in the space activities. So to have our own rockets or our own astronauts is very difficult. It's very difficult. That is very expensive. But we have the people to work, for example, developing satellites, technology related to satellites, applications related to space technologies. The space activity is very wide, ample, and we know that business activities related to space, yeah, are not basically in the field of the astronauts or the rockets, yeah, launching rockets, for example. But we have the possibility of developing a lot of other alternatives of activities where Chile can contribute. For example, space mining activities. Yeah, Chile is the first copper producer of the world. So we have a lot of mining activity and we have a lot of engineering in that field. So I think, for example, that there we have a place where we can work on.
Um, And most of the mining that's expected to happen in space would be robotic mining, using machines that are remotely operated. Um, is this technology in use in Chile?
Well, in some industries, it is. For example, in mining, in the north of the country, there's a lot of machines and trucks and that are managed by artificial intelligence, robotics, but there's a lot to do. Yeah, developing more that activity. So in that field, also in agriculture, we have a lot to do. Yeah, we have also extreme scenarios to use as laboratories. For example, in the north of the country, in the high altitudes with a very, very low pressure, also in the Arctic, yeah, with extreme temperatures, we can simulate the temperatures of the outer space, the moon, for example. We have caverns, etc. We have been looking for also these analog places to use it as laboratories to develop, for example, robotic associated to space activity, to mining, or to agriculture. Yeah, now we are part of a program that is have been developed by the Moon Village Association. Yeah, they have a program for emerging space countries, and we organize a team. Yeah, and we are working with them, with these teams, trying to set up ideas and possible future business in relation to some activities like mining, like agriculture, like clothes, for example. Yeah, to provide solutions for the space activity.
And can we talk a little bit more about you? What got you excited about space? I mean, like, how did you end up in this career as opposed to something else?
Well, I'm personally very excited about aerospace. Aeronautics is an industry that for me was amazing 20 years ago because is technology is a very fast developing industry, is challenging for women as well because we didn't have many opportunities, so it was a challenging to look for some opportunities and to change a little bit the mentality in the industry. In Latin America, we don't have a manufacture activity in Chile, for example. In Brazil exists, yeah, but not in this country. But we have distributors. We have anyway a lot of operators because the characteristic of this very long thin country with the Patagonia, with the desert, we require a lot of aircraft, yeah, and people related to the maintenance, to the operations, to the activity. So in my case, I started to work first in aviation insurance, and after that, I started to create and set up companies that operate helicopters and aircraft in general. But I focus my work in helicopters and in aerial work. We create in Chile the Chilean Helicopter Association. I was member of the board of directors, and from 3 years and until now, I'm the president of that organization. But also at the same time, I started to look for the outer space. Yeah, usually in legal terms, the outer space is analyzed from the international law perspective. Yeah, but coming from aviation law, the perspective is more operational. Yeah, so in Chile, there's no one working from that perspective. So I wanted to be in that work, developing a new view of the space law, but from the private law, from the operational, from the contracts. So I started to basically study by myself. buying books. I have the idea to have a law degree in the near future, but for now, basically working by my own, gaining experience, attending to webinars and studying with another lawyers who have master law degrees, all together in this Chilean Space Association. So we have created a little group of specialists, yeah, in space law, and we are writing and we are working with authority in bill draft, yeah, for the future institution in Chile. And what was amazing for me is the opportunities, yeah, that this activity opens to countries like Chile, yeah. Developing countries most of the time do not see the importance of investing, yeah, in this activity, because they have to resolve basic needs like health, yeah, like uh, getting out people from the poverty, education. But we think that investing in space infrastructure, infrastructure, investing in human capacity in space is a lot to get in the future, in the near future. Is a very good investment decision, yeah, because this is a whole new, yeah, kind of business, yeah, because now space is business, yeah, together than a decision of the states, of the countries. So the changing of this activity to business opened to us a whole new opportunity to be a developed country. So from that perspective, for me, was very clear that someone has to do something and convince the politics and authorities in Chile to go and invest in this new kind of business activity.
And it's kind of interesting thinking through the way certain areas have been developed by allowing for prospectors to go out and find resources and then creating a claim on those resources and then selling those claims to miners who would then go and extract the resources and send them to places. But with the Outer Space Treaty, nobody can lay claim to resources off of to areas off of the Earth. And so you don't have the same kind of legal framework or economic motivations that you have on Earth. And it seems to me that we need to find some way to create a similar type of framework that is equitable both to the people who are in space today and could actually start using those resources, countries like Chile who are very close to being in space, and then maybe other countries who, like you were saying, are more focused on immediate human problems who might come along later. Um, do you have some ideas on how that might work, on what would be a workable solution?
Well, we have been working a lot on that issue because as we are interested in mining, for example, we need to resolve that. And we see that we have that possibility because the agreements they do not um, they have basically the idea of sharing benefits in all humankind. Yeah, but there's not a definition of benefits. Yeah, and based of that, the outer space agreement and then the moon agreement that was signed and ratified by Chile. Yeah, that agreement is also signed by 18 countries, and Chile is one of them. Uh, so at the beginning, we say, okay, we have a problem because we signed 40 years ago or more an agreement that now could be a problem. But it's not, because the moon agreement basically require, yeah, to set up an appropriate legislation, yeah, for the moon activity, for example, in that case. So we think that is not a contradiction between the appropriation of resources, yeah, and the sharing of benefits. We are also very interested in sharing of benefits because we are one of the countries that were not part of the space activity, yeah, until now. Uh, so we have been looking, reading, working, studying the Artemis Accords, for example, yeah, the principles that were developed by the Moon Village Association. We have been preparing papers for our Chilean Foreign Affairs Ministry, yeah, because we think that for our country shall be a main topic to work setting up, building the soft law, and then, yeah, the hard law related to this new legal frame for resource appropriation, IP rights, for example. That is a key. That is a key for business development in the outer space, of course. And we see that the effort of the United States with the Artemis Accords, yeah, have some risk, yeah, because we as a country have been very um, legal behavior. Yeah, we always have been fulfilling our international commitments, yeah, in the treaties that we have signed. So when we see that countries have bilateral agreements as the Artemis Accords, there is a risk if you see that until now all the agreements are multilateral agreements. So if we have multilateral international legislation, but at the same time you have bilateral private agreements, that can be the origin of some conflicts and contradictions. So it's very important. Also, this is also politics because Artemis Accord are promoted by United States, and they look for the political allies to sign those agreements. But in the other hand, you have China. In the other hand, you have Japan. In the other hand, you have another kind, Europeans. So what are they are going to do? They are going to have their own Artemis Accord with bilateral agreements at the same time. That could be a risk. So it's very important that multilateral entities like the United Nations, that the UNUSA, they have to lead this process of creating and developing the legal frame. So basically, we are working with our Foreign Affairs Ministry here in Chile in order to go to the UN, yeah, with these ideas and try to conceal the interest of the business and the international um, um, legal frame in order to go and develop, yeah, from the soft law that could be these Artemis Accords or principles developed by the Moon Village Association, yeah, and move from, yeah, ideas to soft law and to hard law. That is going to take a lot of years because the process is very, very slow, and the activity in the space is very, very fast. Yeah, the date for watching again the TV and see a man or a woman walking in the moon is very, very close. It's like you have behind you humans on the moon in the 2024. That is true. And we are not going to have a new agreement before 2024. That's for sure. So we are very, very concerned about the issue you are telling me. Yeah, and we see that we have that there's not a contradiction between the space agreement that exists until now and the interest of business development and resources appropriation and IP rights, for example. Yeah, we can conciliate that, but we have to do a very strong and work, yeah, to have multilateral and to gain multilateral agreements.
And earlier you mentioned that Chile needs a space agency. And if I remember correctly, Chile once had a space agency. In 2001, I think a space agency was formed, and then 2014 it became part of the military. Do you see the future space agency of Chile being essentially the remains of that organization coming from the military and becoming civilian, or a completely new agency set up?
Well, the agency that existed in Chile was only the name. Yeah, was really not an independent agency with its own assets or its own people working for the agency. No, it was basically the an organization of ministries, different ministries in who have to hold some meetings during the, a period of time. So the law uses was not a law as well, was just an administrative decree, uses the name of Chilean Space Agency, but it was not really an institution. Yeah, now we go for a real institution. And in this moment, what we have is a Ministry of Science, yeah, which law indicates that this ministry have the competence on space activities, and it has to basically coordinate with the defense of the Ministry of Defense and Ministry of Telecommunications, because they before has were in charge of this activity. The infrastructure that Chile has in space, the satellites, are all financed by funds coming from defense. Yeah, and the people working in the operation of the satellites is in defense. Yeah, but the representation, the international representative of the country is in the telecommunication division in the Ministry of Transport and Telecommunications. So we are very dispersed in the country, and now the idea is to move to Ministry of Science, and there to set up an office. They have a project, and we understand that in the following couple of months, we are going to know and have official news about what kind of office that is going to be working in a space activity. In the beginning, it's going to be very, very mixed with military people and civilians. Yeah, last year, the president announced the new satellite national system. Yeah, we are going to have 4 satellites purchased, but also built in the country, but another kind of CubeSats developed by people in Chile, together universities with the Chilean Air Force. So everything here is planned to be a mixed work between the military and civilians, but the institution is going to be head by a civilian, yeah, within the Ministry of Science. So that is pretty clear now. Yeah, but the funds to purchase technology is going to be, and develop technology is going to be in defense. So we are going to have a mix between defense and science, military and civilians for a very long time, but we really don't think that is a problem. We think that is an advantage because we are using their experience. Yeah, and in the Air Force, they are pretty clear that they need also the civilian and the universities and the young people studying physics, astronomy, engineering, to work together with them. Yeah, so we convince in the last, I think, 4 or 5 years that we have to do a mixed work yeah, and a civilian shall be the head, yeah, of the Chilean institution, because otherwise we lose some credibility in the international field.
And with Artemis, there's a real effort to make it international and make it an international effort. We have Canada, who's developing the robotic arm for the gateway, and then as part of the agreement with that, they're going to be sending an astronaut around the moon on Artemis 2 um, from Canada, and then the European Space Agency is contributing some components of the gateway. JAXA is working on a rover for the moon. Um, do you see Chile at some point kind of participating at this level and potentially Chilean astronauts going to the moon?
Well, we really expect to do that. We are being preparing to have the appropriate people acting on behalf of the country, getting these kind of agreements, as you say, contributing with some kind of technology very specific to resolve a problem, and as a right that we can get, yeah, for this contribution. Of course, having someone, a Chilean there, that would be amazing and very inspiring for all the people in the country. That would be fantastic. But I don't think that is now our goal. No, that is not now our goal. We know that we are behind. We know that we have to do a lot to be in that position to negotiate in the way you are telling me. Yeah, we had to do a lot of work before, yeah, to gain that position and to make a negotiation, yeah, in order to have a Chilean in the space. We need to do a lot before of being in that position.
When you talk to the Chileans that are involved in other activities who maybe aren't involved in space, do they get really excited when you talk to them, or do do they need some help in understanding what the opportunities might be?
Well, the people in the day-to-day activities, life, they are using a lot of space technology. Yeah, when they drive, they use the ways. When they look for the weather forecast, they use an application. So when we talk to people, when I talk to other people to explain the importance of the space activity, how important is that developing country as Chile go for that, basically I make examples referring to the day-to-day activities that are supported today with space technology, yeah, like these applications. Also, in the case of our country, we have a lot of natural disasters. Yeah, we have fires, we have earthquakes, we have volcans exploding. For all those situations, also the space technology have been very, very useful, yeah, to save lives. So, for example, some days ago, we have the case of a child that was lost,
Mm.
and we used the Chilean satellite to get images, also aircraft taking photos, but the Chilean satellite taking images to identify the places where the people can go and look for this lost child, for example. So I think that people from now are realizing that the space activity is not just launching rockets or having astronauts, yeah, but also day-to-day solutions, yeah, and the possibility of saving lives in our reality of having a lot of natural catastrophes and emergencies that is very usually in this country. So when people realize how useful it is, yeah, for their life, then they see that it's important that someone is working on that, developing more solutions. Yeah, and then they realize that it's important to be part of this industry. Yeah, as we were not in the past. In the 60s, we just saw by television because Chile was one of the few countries that can connect to the to the images of Neil Armstrong walking in the moon alive. But we were just spectators. We were just clapping our hands and that's it. And we stay outside of that activity, and we lost an opportunity of being part of, of that industry in that moment. But in the 60s was basically a public field topic, yeah, politics. Now it's completely different because now private companies are assuming this very risky activity of space. Yeah, but they have realized that is anyway profitable. So if this activity is profitable, then is of the interest of everyone. Yeah, not only for politics reasons. So now the environment is completely different, and we convince, and people here is convincing that it's important to be part now of this revolution. Yeah, we are very left behind of the countries that are involved in the space activity, like Japan, like Europeans, like India, the States, Russia, but anyway, we convinced that we can contribute. Yeah, international contribution is very important and is according to the principles of the outer space agreements. And to share the benefits, yeah, is something that we really expect. Yeah, but how and what kind of benefits is something that we have to work on, yeah, with the correct and multilateral institutions. Yeah, but now the space is something that you can see, feel, and live every day. And that's a different.
New Zealand, I don't think of as being a big country. And I haven't looked at any stats. I think that maybe New Zealand and Chile are about similar to each other in size and
Yes.
economy and everything. And then you see rocket labs come from New Zealand. And it just, I mean, it took me by surprise. Do you see an entrepreneur like in Chile maybe being able to do something similar? Maybe not rockets, but kind of a surprising space industry.
Yes, it's developing already. In the Patagonia, our position in the world is giving us some advantages. Yeah, we have the Easter Island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, in the middle. Yeah, the most isolated piece of earth this planet is the Easter Island. Yeah, a lot of activities. Yeah, especially in Patagonia now. To download. We are working with some people that is planning to do some work launching rockets, small rockets, middle-sized rockets. That's something interesting too in the country. We have not a history that just a very few um, laboratories attends, but now exists a project, and well, we expect that with the aviation authority, we can do something. The authority here is very open to this. Yeah, from time to time they have convinced of the importance of having these laboratories working, yeah, that this is can it can be dangerous. Yes, it can be, but it's something that we have to try and make mistake in order to learn. Yeah, so universities here are being very, very important, and they are developing a lot of these initiatives. Yeah, with the CubeSat, for example, I think that there's 5 universities with CubeSat projects. So there's a lot in progress now. So, well, but in the case of New Zealand, we know and we look to become like New Zealand, being a small country in the very south of the world, but doing a lot, yeah, in terms or in compare with the size of the country. Yeah, we think that we can be like as them. Well, Argentina, Latin America, Argentina, and Brazil are beyond us. Yeah, they have a lot of activity, they have a lot of infrastructure, they have a lot of human resources. Yeah, and the rest of Latin America is behind. But I think that Chile, with the program of national satellite system, yeah, and the creation of this institution, we are going to be in the third place after Brazil and Argentina. That is our idea.
Is there an opportunity for cross-country collaboration instead of a focus on national space agencies, maybe a regional space agency, like in Europe, they have the European Space Agency. Do you see maybe the potential of having a South American space agency?
Could be now from Mexico is an initiative of Latin American Space Agency, but unfortunately, in Latin America, most of these initiatives goes to blocks, political blocks, the right and the left. So coming from Mexico, the left side of politics is aligned. So Argentina could be part, Mexico is part, and then you see that Venezuela can be part, but the right side of the politics of like Brazil, like Chile, is not, they are not having not confident of this organization, so they are planning maybe to have another one. That is very Latin America, Latin American style, yeah, of the division. But maybe in the future, yeah, we can create a technical regional authority. I think that is going to be the challenge to have a technical, yeah, a more operational, like in aviation. In aviation, we have the ICAO. Yeah, in aviation, we have a Latin America Aviation Council, for example, that works very good. Yeah, so in a space, we have to look something like in aviation, not organized according to politics reality, but according to operational needs, to resolve operational needs. Yeah, in that way, if we have an AKO, but in a space, in the regional level and also in international, I think that the problem now of the UN USA is that it's too politic. We need an like an AKO in a space, absolutely, worldwide, and also in the regional level, absolutely.
It's really amazing. I definitely look forward to hearing more about y'all's achievements in terms of developing this new agency and connecting the people in Chile with the opportunities that are emerging. Um, so my plan is to interview a person a day till the end of 2024, find out what they think about space and specifically about us going back to the moon. And I'm really glad to have gotten to talk to you today. But specifically on that question, what do you think about us going back to the moon?
Well, that's very inspirational. It's amazing to be back there and to think in the moon now in the new perspective, not at the finish line. Is the step. Is a step to go to Mars. To Mars is the step to go to the rest of the planets of the solar system. Yeah, the perspective is completely different. Yeah, it's not a symbol of politics success. It's completely different. Now is a step of space exploration, and that make this a, a very interesting and inspiring. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Loreto. Before we go, is there anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get to?
Well, I think that I have already mentioned a lot. Chile, I think that has a lot to contribute because our activity has been very specific with satellites, but in the rest of the activity and the industries in Chile that now are in the interest of the space, the outer space activities as well, then we have a lot of experience and a lot to do. Yeah. So I think that is in this, we are living a new area. We are living in a century that the perspective is have changed, and to be part of this and to open the possibilities to the new generations to be part of this is an excellent opportunity that we cannot lose. So I think we are responsible of doing this effort, um, and to open possibilities. Developing countries need to be part of this activity. We cannot be outside.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that's definitely the case. There's spaces for everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. But not in a paternalistic view of rich countries contributing, donating to developing countries. Not in that perspective, but in another very different of developing countries really believing in themselves, in their capacities, and contributing from their experience and their capacities. Yeah, in that position, gain gain and negotiates more opportunities. Yeah, Chile has done that, for example, in astronomy. In astronomy, we have the 80% of the astronomy capacity and facilities set in Chile. Yeah, and that was because Chile negotiated it very well a lot of years ago. So, and astronomy, we think, is part of the space activity. It's not separate, it's together, it's part of them. So also we are working a lot with astronomers to get their experience of having this international contribution, all with their facilities in these countries, and use all that experience also, and negotiating experience as well now with these other space activities. Yeah. So we are trying to be part of this process, but not, yeah, from, as I mentioned, paternalist scenario. Yeah. Is have to be different. We need to be proud of what we know, what we can do, yeah, and from that, trying to gain more negotiating capacities and trying to gain more opportunities. That's it.
Step by step.
Step by step. Exactly.
Well, Loreto, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing what you develop and the results of your efforts. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Okay, thank you very much. You too, and thanks for the opportunity as well to talk to
Thank
you.
you. Okay.
Okay,
Bye bye.
bye bye.